Caitlin Clark is getting a new head coach at Indiana Fever, with strong suggestions that there is already a leading candidate earmarked to replace the outgoing Christie Sides. Sides, who took over as coach in 2022, had guided the Fever to their best season finish in 8 years and clinched their first playoff spot since 2017. However, they were beaten in both round 1 ties against the Connecticut Sun in late September. Clark had played a major part in their progress, averaging 9.2 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 8.4 assists in her rookie season. She also found the basket from the three-point line on 122 occasions, the highest tally in the WNBA. But the 22-year-old will be working with a new coach on the sidelines next year after Sides was fired on Sunday. That is despite General Manager Lynn Dunn speaking about their need for stability. Within hours of the news becoming official, the 47-year-old reacted to her dismissal on social media with a 7-word response. "Leave it better than you found it," Sides wrote on X, which few could argue against. When she took over, the Fever had endured a torrid record in the WNBA, going 45-147 across 6 seasons before she took over as coach. By the end of 2023, though, the Fever finished with a 0.325 winning percentage, their best performance since 2019, to highlight their progress as a growing team. That stood out to Clark, who joined them as a 0.1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. But Clark Mania appeared to have a heavy impact on Sides, who was criticized by her fans for failing to extract the absolute maximum from the Rookie of the Year by building the team around her. The pair also were caught arguing in their defeat to Chicago Sky in July, hinting at a possible rift between them. Ironically, it could be a case of poaching the coach who beat them in the playoffs to make the next step. Connecticut Sun coach Stephanie White, who played for Fever between 2000 and 2004, has been mooted as the ideal candidate to fill the vacancy and lead the Indianapolis franchise to glory, with Clark spearheading their charge. White is still under contract with the Sun through the 2025 WNBA season, but the WNBA Coach of the Year for 2023 has emerged as a contender for the Fever jobs due to her belief in Clark's elite talent, which she made obvious earlier in the season. After breaking records in the NCAA, Clark endured a difficult start to life in the WNBA, but White shielded her from criticism and insisted the Iowa alum needed time to adapt to her new surroundings. "I'm looking at all these things that all these people are talking about with Caitlin Clark. I'm like, guys, chill out. She's going to be fine," White previously said. "It's 2 games in, are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year in college. It takes time." It remains to be seen if White wants the job, but the prospect of potentially leading Clark and Fever to glory could be too good to turn down. Caitlin Clark made a telling 8-word admission about fired Indiana Fever head coach Christie Sides. The 47-year-old was dismissed from her role following an even 20-20 season before an abrupt playoff exit. Her overall record of 33-47 across 2 seasons was aided in large part by no. 1 draft pick Clark's remarkable rookie campaign. The 22-year-old basketball prodigy will now be under new guidance in her second WNBA season, and she'll likely be hoping whoever replaces Sides will be a more impactful in-game communicator. In June, Clark made a shock revelation that raised doubts about Sides' effectiveness as a coach. When asked about the most valuable advice she's received mid-match, her response was, "Nobody gives me advice in-game. I wish." That comment concerned Fever fans, prompting many of whom to suggest that Sides wasn't impacting games how she should have been and that star player Clark wasn't receiving the guidance expected of her. Fever president of basketball operations Kelly Krauskopf insisted it wasn't a straightforward decision to part ways with her. "We are incredibly thankful to Coach Sides for embracing the challenge of leading us through an integral transition period over the last 2 seasons, while also positioning us well for future growth," Krauskopf said. "While decisions like these are never easy, it is also imperative that we remain bold and assertive in the pursuit of our goals, which include maximizing our talent and bringing another WNBA championship back to Indiana." Coach Sides was an incredible representative of the Fever and our community, and we wish her nothing but success in the future. After a very poor start to the regular season, Fever produced an electrifying run, which saw them clinch 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. Despite this momentum, the playoffs saw a swift exit for the team at the hands of the Connecticut Sun, who beat them in 2 games. Looking ahead, whoever steps in for Sides will inherit a roster bustling with potential, starring All-WNBA point guard Clark, and also featuring the up-and-coming Aliyah Boston. In the surprise turn of events, Stephanie White, currently at the helm of the Sun, is reportedly a leading contender for the top spot in Indiana. The Chicago Sun-Times reports that White has been in discussions with both the Fever and the Chicago Sky about stepping in for the upcoming season. Despite being under contract until 2025, the opportunity to coach a rising star like Clark might be too tempting for White to resist. Leadership during a critical transition, Sides took the reins of the Fever during a pivotal time, guiding the team through significant restructuring and player development. Her leadership not only brought improvement to the team's on-court performance, but also set a foundation for the future, according to Fever President of Basketball Operations Kelly Krauskopf. We are incredibly thankful to Coach Sides for embracing the challenge of leading us through an integral transition period over the last 2 seasons, while also positioning us well for future growth, Krauskopf said in a statement. While decisions like these are never easy, it is also imperative that we remain bold and assertive in the pursuit of our goals, which includes maximizing our talent and bringing another WNBA championship back to Indiana. Highlights of Sides' tenure. Under Sides, the Fever took substantial strides in rebuilding a team that had endured several seasons at the bottom of the WNBA standings. She helped to shape the early careers of 2 WNBA Rookies of the Year, Aliyah Boston, 2023, and Caitlin Clark, 2024, establishing a core of young talent that has fans and analysts alike optimistic about the team's future. Sides' efforts were recognized league-wide, as she became the first Fever coach to be named WNBA Coach of the Month in August 2024. Her tactical adjustments and roster management in the latter half of the season helped secure a long-awaited playoff berth, marking Indiana's first postseason appearance since 2016. Eyeing a championship return, despite the growth under Sides, the Fever's management believes the team needs a fresh approach to realize its full potential. Krauskopf's statement emphasized a commitment to bold and assertive strategies to bring another WNBA championship to Indiana, indicating that the Fever will pursue a head coach aligned with their ambitions for consistent contention. Sides' departure leaves the team at a critical juncture as they aim to build upon the momentum achieved over the last 2 years. Her work in developing a promising young core will likely be a major asset for the incoming head coach as Indiana positions itself as a future force in the league. The Indiana Fever are on the hunt for the franchise's next head coach following the dismissal of now former team leader Christie Sides. On Sunday, the Fever announced the decision to part ways with Sides in an official statement. Sides fielded heavy criticism from Caitlin Clark fans throughout the 2024 WNBA season. Despite Clark's outstanding Rookie of the Year campaign, many of these fans felt the Indiana head coach failed to fully capitalize on the #1 overall pick's elite talent. Now, Clark fans are weighing in with their thoughts on who the Fever should hire as the organization's next head coach. Some feel Connecticut Sun head coach Stephanie White is the perfect candidate to take over in Indianapolis and serve as a mentor for Clark as she continues her already impressive WNBA career. White is still under contract with the Sun through the 2025 WNBA season, but she's already emerged as a top candidate for the Fever's vacant jobs. Early in the 2024 WNBA season, White came to Clark's defense as she fielded criticism for a slow start to her rookie campaign. "I'm looking at all these things that all these people are talking about with Caitlin Clark. I'm like, guys, chill out. She's going to be fine," White said. "It's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year in college. It takes time. Let's continue to play to our strengths. Let's find different ways to get the ball to our players. And then when we get time in the offseason, then we'll work on that next step." White, a former Purdue Boilermaker, played for her home state Fever team for 4 seasons from 2000 to 4. She then signed on as an assistant coach in 2011 and was promoted to head coach in 2015. She led Indiana to the WNBA Finals in her first of 2 seasons as head coach. White won WNBA Coach of the Year as leader of the Sun in 2023. She led Connecticut to the semifinals this past season, sweeping the Fever in round 1. While White has a good situation in Connecticut, the opportunity to coach Clark in her second WNBA season could be enough to lure the head coach back to Indianapolis. There are many reasons White would be a fine addition as head coach for the Fever. She's got plenty of experience as a player and then as a coach, plus the family connection. We'll see what happens. Through 2 seasons as the Indiana Fever head coach, Sides led the team to a 33-47 regular season record. Last season, she coached the Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016. In August 2024, Sides also became the first coach in franchise history to be named WNBA Coach of the Month. Indiana Fever President of Basketball Operations Kelly Krauskopf said the following about Sides. We are incredibly thankful to Coach Sides for embracing the challenge of leading us through an integral transition period over the last 2 seasons, while also positioning us well for future growth. While decisions like these are never easy, it is also imperative that we remain bold and assertive in the pursuit of our goals, which includes maximizing our talent and bringing another WNBA championship back to Indiana. Coach Sides was an incredible representative of the Fever in our community, and we wish her nothing but success in the future.